Shubham Jai. Happy morning. Topic of capacitors, effect of dielectric, we have discussed, right? Today, again we will discuss the effect of dielectric. Earlier we have discussed on the capacitor value, what happens to the capacity of capacitor. Now today let us discuss the effect of dielectric on the energy stored in a conductor. Energy stored in a capacitor, yeah. How energy is affected is the question. For that, I just remind you the biggest principle. This is what is the principle you have to remember, not just for this is what you call concept. This is what you call the tool for your examples, numericals. We said earlier, whenever dielectric is filled, we have two cases, partial filling and complete filling. Unless and otherwise I state it or given in the data, unless and otherwise we will take it as a complete filling. So here again we will now discuss the case of complete filling of capacitor, complete filling of dielectric, right? Now here, what is the concept of this complete energy stored in a capacitor? Yes. When battery supplies charge to the capacitor, as long as energy is supplied, so long work will be done and energy goes on piling in the capacitor, such that once the capacitor gets the maximum potential, that is what is, it has accepted the maximum charge, beyond which we cannot charge a capacitor. That is the limit point. Beyond that potential, I underline one point, I never said beyond that charge. Beyond that potential, capacitor cannot be charged, right? Therefore, the point is, the energy storage will come into the picture whenever charge is supplied by the battery. Is the common sense, right? You remember this as a concept. Now, technically we are not speaking about two cases. The first one is, without disconnecting battery, supposing I introduce the dielectric, complete filling once again, right? And the next step we will discuss about introducing the dielectric, filling the dielectric after, yes, battery switched off, disconnected battery, we are filling the dielectric. What happens? Like this. Remember, you may get some rational doubts as well. Write your rational doubts and then you can meet your teacher with that. But for today's class, let us understand the effect of energy store. Earlier result was the capacity of a capacitor becomes K times. Remember, capacity becomes K times when a dielectric is filled. That is the case of complete filling. Capacity always becomes K times, right? Now let us see the case of without disconnecting battery. I will now show you two cases. The first one is, yes, this is the capacitor connected to a battery. Battery, we have told many times, a charging device which works on the principle of conservation of energy. So this is what is the battery of, suppose V volts, and this is the capacitor of capacity C. Now here we have the V maximum. V maximum is equal to V, and I will call this Q maximum equal to some Q, I will call Q, or let me take V maximum is equal to VO, Q maximum is equal to QO, then what is that U maximum, and of course capacity is there, capacity value is C, remember, capacity value is C. So U maximum, now I can use any of the expressions, CV squared by 2, yes, QV by 2, Q squared by 2, see any of the expression I can use, any of them, it makes no difference. So U maximum is equal to, supposing I said half, capacity is C, this is maximum potential is VO, therefore U maximum is equal to half CV naught square is the case. Now this is all in the absence of dielectric. Now what I did? Now this has taken the change such that the capacitor this time completely filled with dielectric, and the same battery I will show here. The same battery I will show here. Let me suppose this is of V volts, or some symbol I will use. Yeah, let it be V only. Okay. Or V maximum, I will say VO. This is also VO. Okay, let it be. Now this time, remember, this capacity becomes Kc, because that is our concept. Whenever complete filling is there, capacity becomes K times. Now, see, three aspects we need to understand in systematically. First one is the effect of dielectric. Remember, whenever dielectric is placed, we said it reduces or it weakens the electric field and hence potential difference between the plates decreases was our statement. Remember, we have said V becomes V by K was our statement, expression we have given. E becomes E by K, therefore V becomes V by K was our result. Here also, as soon as we have filled this dielectric, what happens? The potential definitely becomes, earlier it was V naught becomes V by K. Here I show a method. V naught becomes V by K, but for a very short interval of time. Very short interval of time. V naught becomes V naught by K, but not permanently. In no time, again I am telling you, again this word is in no time. Why in no time? Because whenever this potential decreases, this is already maximum potential it has reached. But now V naught becomes V naught by K, potential Konnur already, this is what is the battery, right? Since we have not disconnected or disconnect module without disconnecting we said, though because of dielectric V naught becomes V naught by K, in no time the potential will be restored by the battery. In no time, yes, battery restores. This is a very beautiful word that we use here. Restoring means, yes, whatever the decrement caused by the dielectric, immediately the battery will bringing back, that is what is called as restoring, right? Battery restores it means capacitors. Here it means capacitor. Restores, yes, restores the potential of the capacitor. Restores the potential of capacitor. Therefore, V naught becomes V naught by K, and immediately I am telling you, and immediately this becomes again V naught. Again V naught. Now, first statement is battery restores potential of capacitor. What does it mean? Potential restore ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ whatever the potential has decreased ಅದನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ 10 ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು 7 ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. 7 ಮತ್ತು 10 ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದಟ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಡ್? ಎಸ್, ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ನೌ ಆಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ದ ಚಾರ್ಜ್. ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿ, ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಈಸ್ ಎಸ್. ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಏನಾಯಿತು? ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಹ್ಯಾಪನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ನೋ ಟೈಮ್, ಡಿಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಅಗೇನ್ ರೆಸ್ಟೋರ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ರೆಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇವಾಗ, again charge will flow from, that is what additional charge will flow from battery to capacitor. Capacity ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ it will accept more charge. Yes, it is not. More capacity means more acceptance of charge. Therefore capacity Kc ಆಗಿದೆ, charge ಕೂಡ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. Charge ಯಾಕೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? To restore the potential. So this is the sequence. ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ನೋಡಿ, capacity increase, therefore it will accept more charge. ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಕೊಡೋರು ಯಾರು? ಬ್ಯಾಟರಿ. ಅವನ್ನ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ವಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ. ಟು ರೆಸ್ಟೋರ್ potential. So this is the three sequences that we need to remember, and therefore now we will come at other results. So battery restores the potential of capacity, and the second point is important. Okay, second point second point is additional charge. Yes, additional charge flows from battery to capacitor. See, it has accepted a maximum of Q naught only, because already it has reached its maximum potential. But directly capacity has increased. Capacity increase every time. Charge jasti agbeku anta rule illa, remember? It is not any rule as such that the more capacity, when capacity has increased, the charge will increase. No. Since here, a charge kodovaru, who is the supplier of charge? The battery. And avanu ready agidane, he is not disconnected. Therefore, capacity has increased, charge has increased to restore the potential. Additional charge flows from battery to capacitor. What is that additional charge flowing at the important? Therefore, since C dash is equal to Kc, and then C dash is equal to Kc and since C dash is equal to K, capacity K times charge also becomes K times. Therefore, Q dash is equal to K times Q naught. K times Q naught agide. Therefore, additional charge is to then what is the delta Q? So delta Q is equal to Q naught another initial K, Q naught agidella. Therefore, this is Q naught times, yes, K minus 1. Q naught and capacitor C equal to Q by V, Q equal to CV regular. And then this is what is, I will write C times V naught times K minus 1. And the charge, additional charge that is flowing from battery to capacitor. Charge flow happening. Additional charge flow is happening, therefore additional work, and additional work means additional energy. More energy will be now stored in the capacitor. Please remember, the statement also just follow the sequence. Delta Q. Even the third one and last one. Since additional charge, whenever charge is supplied by the battery, in all such cases, work is to be done and the energy will be stored on the concept of it, right? Since additional charge flows, yes, energy stored, of course in the capacitor is understood, increases. Energy stored in the capacity increases. Now what is that new energy, or how much additional, will be a very beautiful problem in the latter stage. If now I am writing U prime. Remember, I am using the symbols. Initially Q naught to V naught to you make it some C naught to C naught C naught U is equal to U naught. This is what let us call U naught and all these V naught to C naught to Q naught to before introducing dielectric after primes C prime, Q prime, U prime. So U prime is equal to, you can use any of the expression. CV squared by 2 any of the expression. And then another use it doesn't matter. So now U prime is equal to, already CV square and half, yes, C dash, V dash squared. C dash equal to Kc and Q dash equal to KQ and battery restore V prime is equal to V R, V naught. V prime is equal to V naught. ಅದರಾಗೆ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರು ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಯಾವ್ದು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಫ್ ಸಿ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಒಂದೇ ಸತಿ. ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಿ ಪ್ರೈಮ್? ಕೆ ಸಿ ಟೈಮ್ಸ್ ಪಕ್ಕ ಏನಪ್ಪ ವಿ ಡ್ಯಾಶ್ ಅಂದರೆ ನಥಿಂಗ್ ಬಟ್ ವಿ ನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್. therefore this is k times half c v naught square. ಅಂದರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಏನು ಬಂತಪ್ಪ u dash equal to ku ಅಂತ ಬಂತು. ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ? right? so u prime is k times half c v naught square ಅಂತ ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀವ. therefore what is that u prime? u prime is k times u, because already half c v naught square and n ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದು ನೋಡಿ u naught ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದು. so u prime is equal to k times u naught. ಏನೇನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ನೋಡಿ. u dash u prime ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಇಲ್ಲೇನು ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀವಿ q prime ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, and ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ q ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. and look here c is equal to so all these are important. Capacity becomes k times, charge becomes k times, energy becomes k times. But look here, potential remains the same. Is the results for the case of dielectric field without disconnecting battery ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಫೀಲಿಂಗ್ ಇಂದ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ. The same question can be asked in other examinations like JE. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ partial filling ಕೊಟ್ಟು ಕೂಡ ಕೇಳಬಹುದು. Partial filling ಅಲ್ಲಿ we know what is the expression for C prime. C prime is equal to Kc ಅಂತ ಬರೆಯೋದಿಲ್ಲ. we have said A epsilon naught by D minus ಅಂತ expression ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. in this case complete filling ತಗೊಂಡು without disconnecting battery ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. now immediately you will come to the point, what if the battery is disconnected, then the dielectric is introduced? Interesting, and most of the things ನೀವೇ ಬರೀಬಹುದು. ಬರೀತೀರಾ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾ? see earlier we have shown this is without disconnecting ಅಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇವಾಗ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ, and then this filling of dielectric ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ? no battery ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು? no charging agent, ಯಾರು ಚಾರ್ಜಿಂಗ್ ಮಾಡೋರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. therefore what happens ನೋಡಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ this without ಅಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ನಾನೇನಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಎಸ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟರಿ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. 3 ಲೈನ್ ಬರೀಬೇಕು. 3 ಲೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದರೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಸಿ ಪ್ರೈಮ್ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ, this is C prime is equal to K times C. Yes, because irrespective of other aspects like battery, charge or potential, ಇವು ಯಾವುದ್ರ ಮೇಲೆ ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಡಿಪೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಆನ್ ದ ಸೈಜ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದ ಮೀಡಿಯಂ ಫಿಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾಗ C dash C prime Kc ಆಗಿದೆ. ಬಟ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ V dash equal to V naught ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಇದು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು C naught ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ ಅನ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಓಕೆ, C naught ಅಂತ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಓಕೆ, C prime equal to K times C naught. Capacity has increased. Yes, ನಾನು ಮತ್ತು ಇದನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಬಾಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ನೋಡಿ. but V prime is equal to V naught. V prime is equal to V naught. ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. why? ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿನ ಡಿಸ್ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ. Earlier there was a charging device which has restored. In the restoring ಆಗಲ್ಲ. V dash is equal to V dash less than V naught. V naught still V prime is still ನೀವು ಬರ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. V prime is equal to V naught by K. Yeah, I'm sorry. V prime less than V naught. But ಕೂಡ V prime less than V naught. V prime is equal to V naught by K. ಇವಾಗ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, right? Though the capacity has increased, I mean, what does it mean? It can now accept more charge. But who is the agency supplying charge? Battery. Is he present? No. He's not in the picture. Therefore, though the capacity has increased, charge does not change. charge will be the same. So that is what is my, so this is first point and this is second character. And now the third element, what is the third element? Yeah. Since battery is disconnected, since battery is absent, no question of again charge flow, right? So Q dash equal to Q naught, no change in the charge. Capacity increase, potential decrease, charge remaining the same. Here, if you don't use your concept in the right way, all things will become mess up and you will see a paradox. So what does it mean? Potential decreasing, charge should decrease, because we said earlier, more charge, more potential, less charge, less potential, and that is why if we say more charge, more potential, in earlier case also you have seen, charge just there, but potential was the same. So likewise, there are many possibilities. So that is why we need to follow the sequence. Here all the changes are happening due to the dielectric. Earlier whatever we have discussed, like more charge, more potential, ivellam maatadadaga ali dielectric avenu iddidilla, is it not? Therefore, this is what is all the effects caused by the dielectric. You all know V prime is V naught by K. V prime is V naught by K. ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಗಿದೆ, ಚಾರ್ಜ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ. Therefore, now what I am writing is what about the energy? ನೀವು ಬರೀ what is about energy? U prime is equal to half C prime. C prime ಅನ್ನು ಎಷ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ? K times C naught, right? K times C naught. And what is V prime? V prime is ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಇವಾಗ V naught by K ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದಲ್ವಾ? This is V naught by K considered alone. Therefore, this is V naught squared by K squared. Half C square. This is C plus C prime, V plus V prime, right? V naught squared by K squared, K square K. So what is that you find here? U prime equal to. This is also result. This is good result. Your fourth result for ಏನು ಕಾಣಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ? U prime equal to, yes, 1 by K ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತಾ, 1 by K ಉಳಿಯುತ್ತಾ, 1 by K times you will find half C naught V naught square. And what is the result? What is this? Not half C naught V naught square is another earlier ಬರ್ದಿದ್ದೀವಿ. Therefore now here earlier U prime is equal to K times U naught ಆಯಿತು. ಇವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗಿದೆ? Yes. Now the result is U prime is U naught by K. Correct? It has become 1 by K times. It has become 1 by K times. Therefore, now I am writing U prime is equal to U naught upon K is the result. So this is the discussion about the effect of dielectric on the capacitor. Of course, we can remember the results and exam alli ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ, but please the theory behind that, the reasoning behind that is very, very important. Nowadays, everybody telling about one particular thing. You know what is that? As a teacher, don't teach them what to think, but teach them how to think. Another popular ಆಗಿ many people are telling. This we have been doing since years. In fact, for you, PU first year, what I have taught you is going away from our the bad habits which we have cultivated in the schools, by hearting, not meeting the teachers, not using your brain for your practices, your preparations. So the complete learning, you had kept your brain aside. I have told you how to think is the biggest thing, that is what we need to learn in the classroom. Those three professors I keep calling. Professor what? Professor how? Professor why? These three professors will teach you many things. Of course, when you have all such doubts, you have the availability of the teacher as well. Now you can summarize what are those results that we have given today. Suppose effect of dielectric without disconnecting, after disconnecting, in comparative you can now go on. Supposing if I have shown, if I would like to show you that this is without disconnecting and this is say after disconnecting, and the after disconnecting and the what is that you have got? Only one thing is common, that here C prime is equal to Kc, here also C prime equal to Kc. In both the cases capacity has increased. But what about other aspects? Here we said V prime equal to V, here we said V prime equal to V by K, here we said Q prime is K times Q, here we said Q prime equal to Q, and here the U prime is K times U, and here U prime is equal to U by K. Suppose if I calculate what is the, in all these cases, we can now calculate what is the delta C. What is that delta C, how much? And then more calculate what is that delta C? Now if you calculate what is the delta C, in both the cases delta C is K times C times K minus 1, right? C naught of the okay. C naught, V naught, Q naught, okay. Okay, now here this is C naught times K minus 1 and this is what is increase. Then what about delta V? Delta V delta V ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. So delta V two cases without after ಮತ್ತೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ delta V ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು. Similarly you can calculate delta Q in both the cases and after that of course delta U also. ಈ ಡೆಲ್ಟಾ ಯು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಹೇಳಿ, ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಪೊಟೆನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಆಗ್ತಾಯಿದೆ, ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳ್ಬೋದು. ಚೇಂಜ್ ಇನ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ಎರಡರಾಗೂ ಇದೆ. Here it is the case of increase in the energy and here it is the case of decrease in the energy. Likewise. Okay. So remember, capacity increasing and what about the charge and energy depends upon the given condition. What about the charging device? Disconnect ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋದು ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So this was a very small topic I wanted to talk to you. We have an ultimate topic. ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇರೋದು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಟಾಪಿಕ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟರ್ and that is the grouping of capacitors. Why grouping, what grouping and what are those things? All those things we will come to know in our next class. A very small class I wanted to make. Practice it well. Stay home, stay safe. Good day boys.